Please call Stella. Ask her to bring these things with her from the store. 6 spoons of fresh snow, peas, 5 thick slabs of blue cheese, and maybe a snack for her brother Bob. She can scoop these things into 3 red bags, and we will go meet her Wednesday at the train station. When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow is a division of white light into many beautiful colours. These take the shape of a long round arch with its path high above and its 2 ends apparently beyond the horizon. There is, according to legend, a boiling pot of gold at one end. People look, but no one ever finds it. Throughout the centuries, people have explained the rainbow in various ways. Some have accepted it as a miracle without physical explanation. To the Hebrews, it was a token that there would be no more universal floods. The Norsemen considered the rainbow as a bridge over which the gods passed from the earth to their home in the sky. Others have tried to explain the phenomenon physically. Aristotle thought that the rainbow was caused by the reflection of the sun's rays by the rain. Since then, physicists have found that it is not reflection, but refraction by the raindrops which causes the rainbows. Many complicated ideas about the rainbow have been formed. The difference in the rainbow depends considerably upon the size of the drops, and the width of the coloured band increases as the size of the drops increases. If the red of the second bow falls upon the green of the first, the result is to give a bow with an abnormally white-yellow band, since red and green light, when mixed, form yellow. This is a very common type of bow, one showing mainly red and yellow, with little or no green or blue. It is on the internet. Smoking is also very important. He has the courage of the unaware. Life is like a timetable. It shouldn't come as a surprise, but it does. Nonetheless, the overall picture is healthy. I'm so happy that she did. The wedding was in Edinburgh. Of course, on Tuesday, United were beaten despite this. He really is a lovely man. The staff are as good as any staff in the city. This represents a tough game for us. The boy is no longer with us. They said she was stable. This will save interest charges. Well, he is an artist. He looks like an Afghan. People want to see me on the screen. The big problem is a lack of grass. That was the theory anyway. I was inspired by 2 things. If not, he should go home. I must take a seat. It was bound to happen. We have to bring in new players. In time, the First Minister will grow in stature. I have made that offer. None has ever been found. 4 other charges were dropped. We should be able to cope. There was no mention of an amnesty in the Belfast Agreement. We will pay their bills. You should consider whether you want to be in this film. It was exactly 4 months away. He becomes the new Minister for Sport and Culture. It's not covered by the insurance, but the challenge is in the US. Robin Williams is very subdued. The tournament has now been cancelled. They would now be able to look forward with confidence. Both sides have been hit by injury. He also received a Medal of Honor. It may be that lifestyle is behind it. It is a job creation scheme. It looks like a hit. What do we do? Why do it otherwise? What kind of man does that, Mr. Dick? However, he stressed that no decision had yet been made. After 5 weeks, the vehicle will be sold at auction. Consumer confidence remains an issue. Last week he was taken into hospital. This is a true story. By then he was walking on water. It's so hard to shift. They lived for their children. It might change your life. You are a great player. However, it did not end that way. We will deal with the refugees. It was not an insult. You might not make it. However, a decision should be made before the end of August. I did not have a bet on myself. The conclusion is the same. He was prepared for this. But I know the cause. You are like an animal. We intend to change the model. It was some time before she found out he was safe. 2 of the team became ill. It has been a nightmare of frustration. But his speech was delivered by a senior civil servant. Before the game, we went for a pint. This was a good move for me. It will also require a lengthy series of clinical trials. I was just appalled at the way they behaved. It is close to call. It is an impressive record. It is a total and utter change of culture. He leaves a wife, a son, and a daughter. Abbey National is an option. The arrival of the Scottish Premier League has also presented a problem. We have the mental strength. You can spend money on housing. That admission is not surprising. I can't even get into the A team. Lady Thatcher was the only woman with full membership, which can happen any time. It is too pretty, it is too small. But this time we can have no excuses. They are very happy with the new settlement. The abuse of elderly people was appalling. Something will be done by corporate bodies. We did what we had to do. She was also very brave. On Friday, the head teacher and deputy head teacher appeared at the door. We must recognise that this outfit is unique. The opposite is the case. He was a home referee. This is a successful outcome. Suddenly, the Fir Park side were in disarray. She died at her home. Alice, the girl, was said by doctors to be in good condition. 5 minutes later, the home team were back in front. It was a piece of art. I would relish the prospect. These men are a part of India. I was caught out a little bit. The petition was formally presented at Downing Street yesterday. I have wanted to buy one for the National Gallery. It has to be an event. It was deployed in the Gulf War. Crucially, though, United were still alive. The first thing is to assess the damage that has been done. She has gone to the Catholic school. It was by the numbers. I am not going to make any further comment apart from that. This year, this month will be special for Torrance. However, he was later released without charge. This might seem like an outrageous assertion. These days are long gone. I'm afraid to say anything. We are still getting over it. It has to be now. It could take years for the tunnel to be reopened. You have to ask whether they have really thought through these issues. They will do their own thing. You had to go and see him. So what is the campaign about? And does it? Are you from the rugby? Had I heard? Next year it plans to open an office in Tokyo. Our position remains the same. Nobody did in those days. We believe in the medium term. It's nice to be nice. To get good people, you need to offer them enough money. On the month, the weakness was across the board. One season, they might do well. Manchester United can win the European Cup this season. First and foremost, the game was entirely different. But he has a lifeline. Phase 1 was a shambles. City sentiment is in his favour. I've been in 2 finals and I've got a medal. At the top level, the salaries are far too high. Tomorrow is a new day. It makes no influence on the public. She has left the island. He played it like a veteran. I have spoken to head office. They will run a mile. It wasn't a penalty, it was outside the area. Our destiny is in our own hands. He prefers to play for them. He lives in a neighbouring village. It was an odd affair in many respects. It was only later that the condition was diagnosed. We represent a wide range of society. We always felt we could win. This year it will amount to a few £100,000. It is not all good news and relief for Labour, however. Neither side would reveal the details of the offer. I made a terrible start. The result is called a patent. We played them off the pitch. Racism has no place in any sport. Tommy is not a problem. The sanctions are about collective punishment. This is a holy place. He had suffered a heart attack. The tickets will be on sale today at the ticket office. We see the rapid reaction force as the way ahead. This will take several weeks. The research is published in the journal Nature. We have an election in 8 days. Flanker Gordon Simpson may also feature in that match. There is no quick fix. All will be revealed in due course. We used to live with dignity in our country. The most exciting room is the final one of the show. He has made his base in Spain. My life is in the ballet. Basically, they have to come up with the offer. It's all changed at Kilmarnock. His second was a beauty. What do we want to do that for? Does the name matter? How do you get it back? What are you not good at? The Prime Minister was informed on Thursday. However, Dundee deserved to win this game. It was a day for records. He remains a main board director of Royal. That has been the easy part. Things were so intense in the studio. I was not sure whether I had won. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So far, the problems have occurred in the US. It is the voice of the survivors. It had so much to do with output. Must have been at the bar. She died in middle age. No evidence that it was Osama bin Laden. The need to win a trophy. Half the young people had had contact with the police. It is possible to be too good. In many ways, that is as important. Here is a question for you. I was just a kid. Sadly, it sounds as if it is. Hospitals are for the ill. However, he is a coach, and he remains a coach at heart. Employees are entitled to follow their contract to the letter. We have to compete at our own level. They showed a lot of heart. This gives a financial incentive to switch. It might be sad, but it's a fact. She took them for a term. Kingfisher can afford to wait. NATO was not a love affair. Defensive stocks attracted some interest. Manager Bobby Williamson has no injury worries. In fact, we were all over the shop. You can feel at home in China. Persuaded to change his mind. Either way, the investor retains the premium. It is clear that we must learn the lessons from this outbreak. In the meantime, the fans would settle for a derby win. Now, suddenly, we have this new landscape. I should think so, too. Scoring in our first game was a bonus for me. I've had no discussions with the chairman of the board. I was ready for this. On the contrary, they stand to gain. They are interior designers and architects. That should be the subject matter of a public debate. We feel very good about it. It succeeds in a direct and convincing manner. It is also very valuable. None of this work is guaranteed. There is a case to answer. We're trying to get rounded performers. They can leave at any time. And they were being paid? Was everything done to save people? What was the matter for concern? Do I think about them often? That was a gold medal for certain. You get a lot for your money. Thankfully, no one on the bus is too badly hurt. In that moment, I was happy. The actor has met with Mandela. It was never a free kick. It is a recipe for success. I would rather look at him. It's got to come from me. It took a month and a half to film. The cause of the accident remained unclear. It is a symbolic concert. There was a final revealing detail about the broadcast. Certainly, the Taliban regime is finished. He is at war with his knee. Again, the parallel with football can be drawn. I was there 5 months ago. You have to see it like this. Rugby is now just like football. It could well be military. His job was not advertised. There is an element of racism in Scotland. We have a clean bill of health. And we can do it. The songs are just so good. The casting is as perfect. I can hardly believe it. I must do something about it. Our message to the Monetary Policy Committee is clear. If you can run a computer, you can talk to the world. They are not left-wing. McNaughton was not so sure. It is a road of death. The party lasted all night. The group is not paying a dividend. We are on our way. I was as strong as a horse. That meant the search was unlawful. We have a good, healthy debate. I would do away with the dress code. We are on a 4-year mission. This is a historic occasion. This ruling is a farce. I can see their argument. After some discussion, they did. It was always an option. Does that put pressure on us? Did it work? Do you think we are a top nation? Public opinion was split on the proposal. The election is total confusion and chaos. You may have a short memory. Clearly, the need for a personal loan is written in the stars. In the old days, it was easy. There was some merit in that. That is a trend which will be encouraged. The airport was even different. Clark was desperate to return to the House of Commons. We think all other measures are not exhausted. There was no timescale. Last night he pledged to clear his name. On Thursday, Mr. Blair will address the Institute of Public Policy Research. He is not very big either. I have a moral dilemma. Even the one she loved. You have no chance of planning permission. We are encouraged by the news. In addition, certain areas closed at certain times. The professor said the results were positive. In fact, it is deeply unpleasant. 3 years ago, he would have been. Not that Scotland can claim the moral high ground. The announcement was made after inquiries from a national newspaper. I am a lucky man. Nobody else was with me. We put our bid in last night. Alex Ferguson is the same. George Mitchell is trying to close the gap. But BA said the prediction was premature. Like his acting, it was an accident. They have broken the promise. We are really good friends. My goal is quite simple. This is a major championship. It's going to be fun. She is now on the back benches. Scrutiny by European Parliament is limited. This hasn't happened in a vacuum. Both of those promises have already been honoured. We are a Scottish company. We will win the argument. Tomorrow will be a different game entirely. It is the holiday programme with a mortgage. I always knew she was funny. He is a close friend of Gordon Brown. The marshal at the turn was great. If you can get it. On fuel, the Chancellor has a number of options. There was a substantial explosion. The government yesterday announced its proposed new pension account. He could face a jail sentence. That is the consistent approach of the government. This big issue is whether it can be enforced. Clark is back on top form. Motion described it as a unique event. I had a fortunate war. Are they free? What are they for? Is there a waiting list? Do they think anyone else wants them? That investment has now been secured. It is a large number. You will not feel a thing. I've never seen a game like it. It does not even have a staff shortage. It was a bank holiday after all. We are obviously disturbed by this case. The casualties were not named. It is a temptation which should be resisted. It had been on the cards. The second goal was superb. Treatment is not an issue with these people. Even if they come out playing a physical game, we can cope. It is the old story. This should put downward pressure on inflation. No date has been set for a meeting. We have to build a new team in the minimum of time.